Hey guys, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. This song lesson was requested over on my Facebook page, which you can find a link for beneath this video. It's I Am the Resurrection by the Stone Roses, drummed by Wren. A muchly underrated drummer, not amongst drummers necessarily, but amongst just all musicians. I don't think he gets enough credit for creating some really cool beats. It's kind of sloppy playing that he does. And when I say sloppy, it's sort of like, it's swampy, it's swung, it's kind of wishy-washy, but it fits the music perfectly, and he comes up with all these cool parts. And when you see him play live, you realise that he's got quite a few licks under his belt as well. So, I'm not surprised the song was requested. You can download the free PDF for this lesson. I've got 2 pages, so I'm going to teach you 9 of my favourite fills and grooves from the song. And you can download the free PDF from my website, there's a link beneath this video. And then you might also want to help me out by liking and commenting and sharing these videos. This one, for example. If you've got any song suggestions for future free lessons, then you can put them down in the comment section below in this video. But let's crack on with this lesson now with the first groove that occurs right at the beginning. So the song starts with a stomper from Alan, just the drums coming in. It's a classic drum beat. This has been used in many different songs before. You've probably heard it. Each drummer out there listening to it will probably recognise it from a different song. I think of Pretty Woman when I hear this, and of course I Am the Resurrection, but there's lots of other songs it's been used in before. We're basically playing snare drum on beats 1, 2, 3 and 4, the hi-hats on 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Alan is putting in that bass drum on the and of 3 and the and of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just picking up the second half of the bar there on the ands on the bass drum. Nothing emphasised on beat 1. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and the bass drum isn't emphasised on beat 1. So let's hear that. Let's hear that played up to speed. Well, I pretty much did, but without a microphone on, so you can hear just the drums. I like to do that for my lessons, so you can hear just the drums and they don't get picked up by my microphone. Well, my sticks don't get picked up. Anyway, here's what it sounds like properly. So later in the song, we've got a 4-bar phrase, a groove that Alan plays, and it doesn't get looped exactly the same every 4 bars, but the first time he plays it, he certainly plays it this way. It's basically taking the first groove and then adding some extra bass drums. So the first bar, we've got the bass drums falling on the and of 2 and the and of 4. It starts with a crash cymbal and snare drum on beat 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The next 3 bars, we just get this bass drum pattern falling on the and of 2, the and of 3 and the and of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you got the 4 bars, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1. It then loops around. So let's hear that played up to speed as well. So the first cool drum fill that I noticed as a drummer occurs about 58 seconds into the song. I've got 2 bars for you here. The first bar is the bar of groove leading into the drum fill. The second bar is the fill itself. But it kind of starts, the fill starts at the end of bar 1, so I've included that first bar for you. But we're basically playing, for the first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again that snare drum being maintained on beats 1, 2, well not on beat 1 because I think he's just come out of a drum fill before that bar. But then the drum fill starts at the end of the first bar and 1. At this point the bass drum then starts to pump 8th notes all the way through for the drum fill. So we get and 1 and 2. We move to the floor tom and snare drum. It could be the high tom, it doesn't really matter, but I think it's the floor tom and snare drum he plays. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Basically 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the part you hear, and underneath it we're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But we've got this little extra snare drum note, a 1, leading us into the drum fill itself. So slowly the 2 bars together, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And let's hear that up to speed. So the problem with transcribing this song is that every single bar is different. Reni throws in ghost notes all over the place. He's improvising with his bass drum and snare drum all the time. So it was really hard to sort of take definitive parts that he repeats and go, this is what he plays here for this section, because he doesn't. He improvises all over the place. So this next example is a good example of that. He only plays these two bars kind of once. And then he's sort of improvising with ghost notes, etc. But it's quite hard to hear on the recording all his ghost notes. So feel free with any of these grooves to fill in some of the notes with ghost notes. That's certainly what Reni does. I'm not sure whether to call him Alan or Reni. I'll call him Reni from now on, but I'll probably forget. So we got 2 bars again, and we got the first bar. Starts with a crash cymbal going into this section, but then when it loops, you don't get the crash cymbal on beat 1 every time. In fact, I think sometimes it might be a ride cymbal he's playing, not a crash cymbal. It's like a ding rather than a crash. So I think it might be he's hitting the ride cymbal with the tip of his stick instead of hitting the crash cymbal for some of these crash cymbal parts. But anyway, doesn't matter what you use. 1 and 2, we get the hi-hat opening there on beat 2 for the whole of 2. 2 and a 3. And it closes on beat 3 there, but preceded by a little ghost note on the snare drum, a 3. And it's kind of hard to hear to determine whether it's a ghost note or a normal volume snare drum. They're kind of loud for ghost notes, but basically a ghost note is when you play a little tap note, usually on the snare drum. But you could play these notes a little bit louder than that. So 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and what I did mention, because you start to hear it now, when you start to throw in these E's and R's on the snare drum as ghost notes, you start to hear the swing of the song. It's not quite 1, 2, E and 4, 1, 2, E and 4. It's kind of swung 1, 2, E and 4, 1, 2, E and 4. Hopefully you can hear the difference between those two. I'm sort of trying to swing it as much as possible. We do get an element of swing here. So 1 and 2, 3 and you could play the hi-hat on the and of 2 there, but I think he leaves it out when we play up to speed. You probably feel quite comfortable leaving it out. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. So we get 3 and 4 and that second half. When we go into the second bar, we miss out bass drum on beat 1. 1 and 2, 3 and that snare drum and hi-hat feature opens again on beat 2. 2, 3 and 4 and. And then when we loop it, it kind of loops the second bar round rather than goes back to the beginning. So those 2 bars together, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 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 up to speed. So now we go on to my favourite drum fill from the song, and I've written it as a 2-bar example. Again, we got the bar preceding the drum fill, the bar of groove, and this time Reni is playing the bass drum on all the 8th notes for the groove as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and very simple sort of drum beat going into it. Excuse me. But then we go into the second bar, the drum fill. It starts with that 1 and we get the same idea as the third fill I showed you, the third example in this video. We get a 1 going into beat 2, a 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2. At that point, we start to get a line of 16th notes with some ghost notes thrown in. I think he's going to the high tom, but you could go to the floor tom instead. Starting from beat 2, and all the ghost notes are written in brackets. If you find them too difficult, then you can leave them out. But we get this from beat 2. 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. So without the ghost notes, we get 2 and 3 E and 4 E and a 2 and 3 E and 4 E and. Let's put the whole bar slowly. 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and 1. 1 and a 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. Sort of hear those ghost notes filling in the space. Let's now hear those 2 bars played up to speed. And by the way, I think I already mentioned it, if you want to leave out those ghost notes, then it would sound like this, instead of filling in all those spaces, but you can try either way, depending on your own ability. Anyway, up to speed. So the song features many, many cool examples of Reni sort of following the bass and the guitar, his drum parts matching the melody precisely. This is a great example of that. He does this kind of thing throughout the song. In fact, the next example I'm going to show you has another example of that, where he's filling in time exactly with the melody. But we've got this really cool sort of drum fill intro going into the groove for the new section. And we've got some 30-second notes. So starting on the and of beat 1, just kind of makes it a bit weird. The and of beat 1, we're missing beat 1. We come in with a double, and I'm not sure exactly what sticking he uses here. You can use whatever sticking you like. This is how I would play it, but it makes a lot of sense for me, as you'll see, because the hands lend themselves to come down to the drums correctly. We get and, now and takes up just the and 2, and 2. It's not quite triplets, it's 30-second notes. So it's not, it's more, rather than it's. That's the feel you want to go for. And 2, and 2, and 2, and 2. We then get ready with the left hand, and 2E, because we're coming down to the snare drum, and 2E. Our right hand then is then free to come down to the floor tom, and 2E and and then from then on to pretty much the end of the bar, we get these offbeat snare and floor tom callings on the E's and the E's. 2E and 3E and 4E and it ends there with E and. Again, these are slightly swung. And 2E and 3E and 4E and. You hear at the end, da-da-doosh, that sort of swung element to it. So then we go into the 2-bar groove, which is interesting as well. And he does repeat this idea. So these 2 bars are repeated. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. We've got the first bar of the groove, 1 and 2 and a 3E. So we get these ghost notes here, were very prominent on the recording. A 3E falling just before and after beat 3. A 3E, and those ghost notes fall in between the hi-hats. A 3E and 4 and. The next bar we skip over beat 1. Go into a ghost note, 1E and into an open hi-hat. 1E and 2 and. 1E and 2 and then 3E and 4 and. And then we can loop those 2 bars without the crash cymbal at the beginning each time. So we get 1 and 2 and a 3E and 4 and 1E and 2 and 3E and 4 and 1, 2, a 3E and 4 and 1E and 2 and oops and 1, 2, a 3E and 4 and 1E and 2 and 3E and 4 and 1, 2, a 3E and 4 and 1E and 2 and 3E and 4 and 1. That's the drum beat that gets played there with the intro as well. And let's now hear it played up to speed. So another example of Reni playing melodically with the bass guitar, following their melodies. We've got a 2-bar pattern, and the first part is sort of leading into the drum fill in the second bar. We get, again, it's a good example. I think it's a right cymbal. I've written it as a crash cymbal, but I think it's a right cymbal he uses. We kind of get this, 1E and a 2, 1E and a 2, 1E and a 2, and then from that point we get loads of offbeat snare drums, and a 3E and a 4E and. I'm just playing right, left, right, left, right, left. I just come down to the snare drum, a 4E and with the right hand for that beat 4, a 4E and. Back up to the hi-hat for the and a 4 with an open hi-hat, and 1, and the bass drum plays on beat 1 in the next bar where the hi-hat closes. So 1E and a 2 and a 3E and a 4E and 1, 1E and a 2 and a 3E and a 4E and 1. Then we get this second bar where it follows the melody. So 1 and 2E and a 3E and a 4E and 2E and a 3E and a 4E. Oh, sorry. 4 E and. Not quite that swung. So we get the two bars together. Came in too early with the snare drum roll there. And let's now hear those two bars up to speed. So this was the trickiest one for me to sort of work out exactly. Again, because it's this one drum beat isn't repeated exactly every single time. Very close to it, but also because I'm not sure whether we got a tom at the end being overdubbed or whether Reni was actually playing it on the kit during the recording. So I've got you an equivalent of what I think I'm hearing on the recording and how you could play it. So again, he's adding in loads of extra ghost notes here. I've just given you the basic rhythm you can hear. We've got this. 1 and 2 and a 3 E and. So and a 3 E and 4. And then this bass, this tom I'm hearing, it could be a floor tom, could be a high tom, it doesn't really matter I guess. But he moves up and plays the high tom, I'm going to say, on the and a 4 with the bass drum. And 1. And 1. Now it could be with the hi-hat at the same time, it could be with the right hand moving from the hi-hat to the tom, it doesn't really matter. But what we got here, what I think I'm hearing is 1 and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and 1. But it could be 1 and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 E and 4 and just coming off the hi-hat there to play either the floor tom or the right tom, a high tom, sorry. You can choose to play either way. Here's what that sounds like up to speed a few times. And then finally, for the last section, which occurs around 6:41 into the song, we get this drum beat. Reni comes in after a few moments with just the sort of guitars and stuff, and he comes in with this groove initially. We miss out beat 1, we come in on the and a beat 1, 1 and 2 and. We get a flam snare drum on the beat 2, then the bass drum on the and 2. So then going to play and 3 and 4 and then between two sets of toms, and 3 and 4 and, we get just this power notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and he does repeat this round a few times. The first time he plays it, I'm pretty sure he plays 1 and 2 and not toms on the and of 2 there. But then when he repeats it, I think I'm hearing toms afterwards. So I think he changes it into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I think he moves to the tom straight after the snare drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But the first time, I don't think he does it. I think he plays 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's just the bass drum played on the and of 2. Up to you which way you want to play it. You can see they're very, very similar. It's the same rhythm, it's just whether you want to emphasise that and a 2 more. So here's what that sounds like without my microphone on, so you can hear just the drums. So there you go, hope you found that useful and fun. Don't forget to download the free PDF that came with this lesson from my website. Again, the link is beneath this video, so you can have it printed out in front of you and get into this song and these drum beats and fills straight away. And then while you're there, you might also want to consider signing up to become an online member at drumstheword.com. And what I currently offer for $97 is instant online access to my website for a full year. Where I teach you full songs from start to finish. Unlike this lesson where I teach you just little parts of it, I teach you a song from start to finish. You get the full PDF drum transcription that comes with each lesson. And I've got over 300 famous and popular songs now on my website where you can learn a song from start to finish, as I say. And then, as a thank you for signing up, I also give you hundreds of videos, like this one teaching you famous beats, fills and solos, 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous beats, fills and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. So I record new lessons every week, unless I'm on holiday or I'm ill. So you've got lots of cool new stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription as well. Not just all we do stuff on the website, but new material as well. And if you want to influence and make some suggestions as to what material I record, then you can email me, robert@drumsaword.com, or the best places are on social media, so Facebook and YouTube, specifically on my YouTube free videos. If you type into the comments, then other people can vote on it, and if I see something that's really popular, then I'm going to do it at some point. But you can always email me if you've got any questions, robert@drumsaword.com. Anyway, that's the adverts out the way. Toodle pip, and happy drumming to you.